Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
This is So I'm Watching the Show, your new favorite pop culture YouTube channel where we talk about movies, TV, music, and more. I wanted to record an intro because we're going to release some very old test footage of ours that was Riverdale. We covered season 1 and 2 of Riverdale, and because we have had so much fun with that show, for better and worse, and because it's been one of some of our most popular content, I was like, we've got this footage. It's not great. Like, our audio's bad. Yeah. We look different. There is no set. Yeah. But I think ultimately at the end of the day, I think the conversation is good. Mm-hmm. And I think it's worth releasing.
It's in my old dining room.
So yeah, we're definitely going to release season 2. And that's what this is. This is just a little intro for our Riverdale season 2 content. So you got to have options.
I see.
So please do enjoy. Okay, episode 3. Ooh.
Yeah, look how flushed I am too.
Let's try that again.
Only part of it's the wine.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, wine's not going to help.
It's like boiling over here. Eventually, I'm going to have Michelle Obama arms, and then it'll be fine.
What is happening with my hair?
I don't know. Mine's not great right now either. Leave all this in. Let's do it. We should just do it. We should. You know what you should do? You should cut out all the stuff and make a blooper reel.
I was thinking about.
And then post a blooper reel.
I was thinking about doing little intros. Okay, The Watcher in the Woods, which is a movie that terrified the ever-living shit out of me when I was in elementary school. Some old lady. And then, it's not Betty Davis. I think it's Betty Davis.
Yep, Betty Davis,
yeah.
Carol Baker, Lynn Holly Johnson, Kyle Richards, and David McCallum. The budget was $9 million. How adorable.
Yeah, no, I couldn't handle it.
Well, it was in 1980. Of course you couldn't handle it. Those shits were like snuff films back then.
So, in my opinion, this is a very good episode. Mm-hmm. It is a Kevin-centric episode. And they really go there.
They do really go there in a way that I think is realistic coming from all sides of it.
Really. And
because I really sympathize with Betty in this episode. Obviously, I sympathize with Kevin. It's his, like, actual tribulation. But But
I'm inclined to say there were gay people in the room.
Oh, there's absolutely gay people in the Riverdale writers' room.
Because, sorry, I cut you off, so.
No, I just think it's, like, really... Because we open the episode with Kevin cruising what seems to be, like, as popular as the gardens in Paris for, like, gay hookups. And, which is, to me, shocking that something like that exists in Riverdale, and he's the only gay kid at Riverdale High.
Well, he's sleeping with adults. This is where it is so icky, or not even icky. I don't want to reduce it to that because it's real.
It is super real, but I think it can be. You can say it's real and it's icky at the same time. Like that main relationship from Queer as Folk. It's played as very romantic. It's pretty icky. Mm-hmm. Like they're at two such vastly different relationship or like points of.
It's meant to be secret. It's meant to be, and so they're
for so long everything had to be secret.
The amount of shame and stigma attached to it, and I really like the way the show tackles so much of that without explaining it. Like, and that goes both ways because there are, at this point especially, there are still children, young people watching this, and it's meant to be a cautionary tale, not a role model or way of life.
It's not like goals.
I think too many young gays that would be watching this
will be like, well, Kevin's fine.
They'll see it as like a
like a suggestion
or a seal of approval.
Gotcha.
Like that it is an option.
But I agree with you to a sense. I definitely think they'll see it as an option. But I do think the scene with Sheriff Keller at the end is very important to making it known that this is like not 100% the right way to go about finding a boyfriend.
Because he also doesn't, but Kevin's not there yet. And that's another thing that's so important about this episode and this show is that Kevin is also from an inclusive home and an inclusive community. And he still has hang-ups.
Yeah.
Because we like to act like in a post-Love Victor world.
Love Simon.
There you go.
But yeah.
Love Simon world.
We're almost in a post-Love
Yeah.
Victor world.
In a post-Love Simon world that it's just okay. And
Right.
it's like, it's really not. And I also especially like the juxtaposition between Betty and Cheryl.
Fact.
Yes. So here's the thing for me with Betty's stuff specifically, is that I don't even think she's passing judgment on Kevin. She just is like quite literally concerned
Well, she's
for his
judging.
safety.
Yeah, she's judging him for being stupid. She
Well,
is.
Yes, but it's for none of the gay activity.
Yeah, no.
It's just because she's like, there's a literal murderer out there. I want you to be safe, and cruising for strange adult men in the woods is not safe.
And frankly, I mean, many people, especially many young gay people and stuff, they have a mild death wish. They don't actually know what it means. They don't actually
Yes.
want.
And that's the thing about this episode that I found more interesting on the second watch, is that Kevin, at one point in this episode, specifically says, I know I shouldn't be doing it, but it's like a compulsion. Mm-hmm. It's like he knows it's unsafe, he knows it's dangerous for any number of reasons, not the least of which is that there's a murderer out there, but he can't keep himself from going out because of probably the thrill of it, essentially, which I think is realistic and fascinating.
It is something that makes, especially young gay male sexuality interesting, is because I'm speaking broadly, to a general extent, they both want the same thing out of each other.
Right.
In a way that a lot of cis hetero young men courting women have to sort of make social.
It has to be socially acceptable in the way.
Well, they have to make compromises and stuff. They have to meet in the middle.
Well, and a legitimate social contract where this is fucking in the woods.
Yeah.
And whereas me as a straight woman being courted by a man is like, well, let me buy you flowers. I promise I won't do this if you promise you will do this. And
it's ingrained in us since birth via cartoons and Disney movies and stuff like that. And so it's like,
if I bring you flowers and give you a steak dinner, then you'll put out. But this is like, you and I are both already in the woods. We both know we're already putting out.
And I mean, there are many, many gay relationships where the friendship develops later.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or just in general. I mean, people like conventional heterosexual relationships, I mean, the couple can be married and the family can still sort of be in denial.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
But with queer relationships, it's the first place everybody goes mentally. Yeah. And so, I like I said, this is the thing that happens. I have myself been on we got Grind'em. I've been on these hookup apps before, and there's a couple people that have talked to me where I've been like, how old are you? Like, no, I'm not bringing you weed. Like,
you shouldn't be bringing someone else weed anyway.
No, but I mean, I'm telling you, I've gotten messages where it's like, hey,
could you buy me a six-pack?
I'll blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no. And it's like...
Because
it's illegal. It's like, that's setting me up for...
It's super illegal, because it could also be a sting kind of situation, but it's also like, again, as a straight woman, I've never even considered the fact that someone might be like, can you buy me beer? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, it's never even crossed my mind that I might be in a situation where a person younger than me would be like, I need you to buy me booze. And because I would also just say no, but it's the disparity. And I think that's part of the reason why Betty doesn't understand the betrayal that she's putting in, because she's a lot more on the side of, well, that's obviously a no, and Kevin's like, well, it's a soft maybe.
And I'm on her side. I do think she did the right thing, and I don't think that there's another. It's especially when there's a murderer on the loose.
Of course.
Like, I'll entertain a gray zone if it's a couple of boys out in the woods, like, fooling around. I've had my fair share of tussles in the woods.
I mean, that's the thing is, like, I can, leaving aside the, like...
We're not talking about Kevin and Moose here, going
no.
down to, like, the river to fool around.
And also, leaving aside the fact that Kevin is underage...
Considering getting in a car.
Yes.
With a man whose eyes he can't see.
That's where it gets too dangerous. For sure, when there's a serial killer out there. But even if there were not a serial killer out there, I think it's too easy for this to get into, like, a... Kevin gets date raped in the back of a Corvette type
Which
of
we also
situation.
didn't have to do.
Which is great. I love that we didn't do that, but like that's where we could have been going.
And again, I actually feel pretty bamboozled by the fact that Casey Cott is not gay.
I always forget
He could
that.
have fooled me several times.
Yeah.
But his performance
He's
with...
like a super ally. He's about it all the time.
His performance with Martin Cummins, who plays his dad, it's like he doesn't... Because it's something we're gonna sit with this for a little bit. So this is one of our longer episodes. Yeah. It was something that Glee really irritated me about it because it had to do with how they would divide up who wrote what episodes.
Oh, yes.
Because like with episode 7, Kurt would be berating his dad for like not parenting him, and he would be like, "Dad, you need to like accept that I am gay, and you need to like it's fine for you to say it's okay, but you need to show up to work." And then not 2 episodes later, his dad tries to have a sex talk with him, and he's like, "Dad, I'm not doing this with you. I'm too embarrassed."
Or he's like trying to join PFLAG or something.
He's like,
"Oh my god, this is my
he's like
thing."
Mortified, and it's like that doesn't connect. That doesn't make sense, and so it's not pleasant. It's not enjoyable. Well, and frankly, I mean, that's an entirely different conversation. Is why, I mean, I'm not saying that we should be like completely sexually open with our parents, but it's like, why is this so hard? Why is it such a stigma? Why is sex so vilified in our puritanical American?
Well, you just answered your question. I mean, the answer's in the question. But no, I agree. I mean, you know, sometimes I wish I'd been more open with my mom about it, but at the same time, I don't want to talk to my mom about that.
Well, the thing for me, and in case there is anyone young watching us, I do talk to my mom about stuff. Like, I run major decisions and major life questions through her as a sounding board. And so we settled, and I know it's different for men and women and stuff, but we settled on language where it was like, I think I was like 18 years old when I was like, I'm just going to start saying hooked up, and you can go as far as you need.
You can think about that as far as you need.
It could mean making out over the summer, or it could be, and so since I was 18 years old, I'd be like, yeah, and not just me, even my friends and stuff, just to understand what's happening. I'd be like, well, they hooked up, over spring break, and then blah, 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 blah. And so it's like she can take it as far as she needs to in order to
make it work.
Because ultimately I want her actual advice,
right.
and so it just sort of, I think those sorts of conversations are necessary and important, and I think you're better off for having them earlier.
Yeah.
And and we come back to this well a few more times.
We do, and I think it is good. Pretty much every time.
They do lose it a little bit when we get into 3 and 4, but
well, they lose Kevin.
Yeah.
In a way that like we end up having these weighty like plot lines with Kevin that like his actual character can't hold that weight at that point, which sucks because right now it's weighty and it makes sense and it's like good, but later it gets kind of lost. So
we're running long, so I was just going to touch on a couple things. We did get, as far as the knockoff brands, we got both Grindem and the Matchlorette.
Is that was what she was saying? I was in the kitchen cooking, so I didn't hear
the Matchlorette.
Okay.
We got the Ghoulies, which is a rival gang for the Serpents. We got
they stick around and annoyingly.
They really do.
They really outstay their.
But they're also, like their name, it's like they're not ever present.
True.
It's just the threat of them more than...
Everyone's always like saying the word ghoulie, but there's not actually like usually a ghoulie in presence.
We got both Sweet Pea and Tony.
Yes.
Mild spoilers. That's kind of our bag.
I'm not going to tell you plot points.
No, but we really were hesitant with Tony in the beginning. They very much were threatening threatening us with her as a character.
So, well, they were threatening us with her as a character, but they were also threatening this like still nascent relationship between Betty and Jughead with an interloper. in a way that it was like we like just got settled with them together. This is not the time to be testing those boundaries, and that blessedly lasts for like almost no time.
I always hated Sweet Pea. I don't know my particular beef with him.
I like him. He's fun.
You have always liked him. He was really sweet on Celebrity Drag Race, so now I'm fine with him.
Cute. So cute. If you haven't watched that, go watch it right now.
This is the episode where Cheryl was just the Kim Kardashian gif, like lurking around every corner.
She, like the Kim Kardashian in the bushes, like coming around. Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, Cheryl's still Cheryl.
But she
has points.
Oh, Kevin, you precious, beautiful, compulsive piece of trash.
She has points to make, yeah.
Back to Kevin. I'm sorry, I got more to say. The stuff with him and Moose in the hospital
so good.
Is almost heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Because they don't really talk about it. I could have stood for them to talk about it, but I'll go ahead and say from experience, as a Kevin who had a couple mooses, you don't really talk about it.
It's all very surface level.
That's the most you can hope for. But
it ends really nicely.
I also like that Midge is never made out to be a fool.
Yeah. I think Midge knows about Moose. No? Does she not? Okay.
Well, she does find out. Yeah.
I was going to say, I think
she finds out.
Yeah, okay. I think she knows.
Because in a very me style, Kevin just goes ahead. Goes head first. She does find out. But no, it was very sweet. Moose survived 4 gunshots.
Because
to
he
the
apparently
face.
Shielded me.
Yeah.
She got shot 0 times. So we know the Black Hood is a terrible shot.
Yeah, he was fine. So Alice got a package from the Black Hood.
Yeah.
He wants everyone to know that he shot Fred Andrews and Moose and Midge and murdered Geraldine Grundy.
It just was a lot of work. It was a lot of theatrics on the Black Hood's part.
Again, as evidenced by whoever spray painted Killer Diner or whatever.
Death Diner
on the outside of Pops.
He didn't even die.
This town is full of dramatic bitches.
Full of bitchy queens who live for the messy queens who live for the drama. And then Ethel Muggs gets stalked, kind of. I would even accuse her of faking it if we didn't see it happen, but I don't want to turn her into that.
Yeah.
And I do love that she calls Archie, so
it's cute.
Yeah, I like that they're close enough that she has his number and knows she can trust him.
Well, he was handing out those flyers as if they were confetti. So
not stop. I cannot be stopped.
It's maybe not as
So
cute
we
as
have
you
the
think.
red circle.
Which is a topless boy gang.
Those are not boys. I don't know what 40-year-old muscle hunks those are.
Topless stripper gang.
But
topless adult male stripper gang.
So they had to know. The writers had
of
to
course.
be
Of course.
in between Snickers.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is. I can't think of a word. It's unacceptable.
It's so many 6-packs.
And they're all wearing pink red masks, so they all look like Mexican wrestlers.
Like luchadors?
Yeah.
Okay, here's my biggest problem with that is that
they're a gang that's going to call the cops, basically.
Yeah, they're not vigilantes.
They're not.
They're not dancers, or they're not whores, they're dancers. Here's my biggest problem is Archie is the one with the most to lose because the guy has already shot Fred and knows where they live, and Archie is the only one who doesn't have his head covered. What the fuck? What the fuck?
And then also Alice is provoking the serial. The Alice next door is provoking the serial killer. What happened with the lodges? Something happened with the lodges?
They invited Archie for dinner, and there were a lot of really
Hiram threatened him in a really homoerotic way.
Veiled threats. Hiram is also helping with this vigilante gang. He's giving him advice and stuff.
And rum
to a child. Although, like I said while we were watching it,
Hiram's a cool dad.
This is the first mention of the rum business, which really caught us off guard when it becomes a thing in season 4. So
it like stays a thing, but it gradually gradually becomes a thing.
Hiram also said he can hear everybody all throughout the apartment because the walls are thin. So Hermione can't keep warning Veronica about stuff, and then Veronica hears stuff between Archie and Hiram, and it's just like a whole big Lodge family disaster.
So, I think that's good. Is there anything else from this
That's mostly it.
episode? Okay, cool.
Yeah.